From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Cascade Paint and Supply is Reading's oldest family-owned paint store, established in 1953. We are the largest Dunn Edwards dealer in the nation, and most of our products are made in the U.S. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff are ready to answer your questions and help you today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Kruger. This is your Friday afternoon forecast. Now, we're going to be talking about temperatures this weekend dropping. We're talking upper 80s to low 90s for the valley here this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. But with that, we've got the potential for showers and thunderstorms. Now, I think most of it will be in the higher elevations. We'll take a closer look at where that will be. But even the valley may get caught up in some of this activity. But the forecast model is still having a hard time as far as the overall intensity and exactly where those will be. We'll take a closer look at that here in just a bit. So again, not ruling out some of that activity in the valley. Now, it's going to be drier and warmer starting Monday through next week. I think we're going to see some bigger heat arrive by the middle and latter part of next week, and some bigger heat than initially thought. But again, a closer look at that here just a little bit here. So here's your neighborhood forecast at a quick glance for the rest of the day today. Temperatures could top out in the upper 90s to about 100 degrees in the valley. So it's going to be a kind of a warm, hot wrap up to your work week. Even for Trinity County, up to about 90. Temperatures in the 80s, even some 90s for some of the higher elevations, and for the coast. Low to mid 60s for your daytime highs, still looking at the mostly cloudy skies here. Let's take a look at that fire weather forecast sponsored by Garmin's Tractor Service. You can see the winds really picking up, unfortunately, western Tehama, Glen, and even western, southwestern Shasta County as well. This is going to elevate that fire weather risk in that area, unfortunately, but by tomorrow morning, a little breezy. But I'm not terribly concerned about the winds on Saturday or even Sunday. And the reason being is we've got some pretty high relative humidity, especially for this time of the year. So the fire weather risk, as you can see for today, pretty high, right? Why? Because those winds are picking up in the afternoon. A little gusty at times. We're talking over 30 miles per hour in some cases here, and low humidity. We're talking 20% and even a little bit lower than that in some cases. But look at Saturday. Remember, those winds are picking up, but look at the humidity levels, 30 to even over 40%. Look at Reading, 62%. So we are seeing much higher humidity than we're used to. It's going to be a bit more muggy than you're used to on Saturday as well as Sunday as well. But that also, with the higher humidity and lower temperatures, that's really going to help to decrease that fire weather risk. Very good news. Big stream of moisture coming in from the west. That is technically categorized as, wait for it, yes, I'm going to say it, atmospheric river, but I don't want you to look at it as a doomsday term, because it's not. It is a term to help explain that we've got more moisture coming into the area. So there it is. Big plume of moisture over the western Pacific. The jet stream is tapping into that, acting like a bit of a hose and turning up that spigot a little bit here, especially for the Pacific Northwest for today. Then through the day today into Saturday, you can see that will shift southward. Now it's going to be a weaker atmospheric river. That is, the flow of moisture will be weaker. So Mother Nature turning down that flow a bit here, but still pointed at Northern California. But again, even for the Pacific Northwest, this is not going to be a flooding event. They'll just get some decent rain out of it. We'll get some rain out of it. I just don't expect it to be a ton, some a lot more than others. Then that will continue to shift southward, and Mother Nature turning off that flow by Sunday, but there will be leftover moisture on Sunday, giving us a continued chance for showers and thunderstorms. And then by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you see the brown and the blue colors in there. That is the drier air that we typically see this time of the year. Not terribly sold on this severe weather outlook, but you get the idea. I think mostly the mountains, although the valley, especially Saturday evening, Saturday night, could see some activity. And then I think most of it will be confined to the north and east. But again, parts of Trinity County, I think, still could see some activity. I want to show you two different forecast models. The first one is the HRRR forecast model. This updates every hour. It gives us a general idea. And then we'll look at our in-house forecast model. Let's start with HRRR, though. So we take you through the day today. And here we are in the afternoon. We're dry. We're just looking at some clouds. I think we're going to notice more clouds, especially working their way into many of the mountain locations, and mostly cloudy skies for the coast. Now, by tomorrow morning, we're going to see a band of moisture that is going to be pushing through. It's a bit of a boundary, if you will. Not quite a cold front, but it's close. And what that's going to do is help to bring in some showers. You can see it's not very heavy. I think some of it's going to work its way into Trinity County, Siskiyou County as well, but dry everywhere else. Now, that will push eastward. Now, look where most of the activity is. Siskiyou, northern Shasta, even parts of Trinity County, and maybe even the valley getting caught up in some of this. And I'd say even Red Bluff northward into Redding could see a stray shower, maybe an off chance for a thunderstorm as well. But I think most of the thunderstorms and the heavy rainfall associated with those thunderstorms and lightning strikes at that will be in the mountains. But look at Modoc County, eastern mountains. Really not seeing a ton of activity, probably until late in the day Saturday into Saturday night. Now there's Sunday around midnight. So this is Saturday night, Sunday morning. Things are kind of quieting down a bit here. Now that's as far as that model goes. Now let's take a look at our in-house model. So you can see, agree with the HRRR forecast model that we'll see increasing clouds as we go into your Friday. Now Saturday morning, there's that boundary coming in. Once again, much like that of the HRRR forecast model. And you can see, watch what happens for the valley. It really starts to flare up around midday, but most of the thunderstorms by midday are still in Siskiyou County, northern Trinity County, and even western portions of Tehama County as well. Now, I think this is where it might be overly aggressive. The thunderstorms, if we see them develop, we're going to be later in the day, and number two, not as strong as what you're seeing here. But I think overall, we're looking pretty good north of that, right? Trinity County, Siskiyou, even parts of Modoc, Lassen County may start to see some activity popping up. But again, probably later in the day is when the eastern mountains and Modoc County will see the activity. But now, once again, 6 p.m., it is showing some of the activity, not quite as aggressive by 6 p.m., but maybe overly aggressive with how far south it goes, like Corning, for example. But we can't entirely rule that out, but I'd say Red Bluff, northern into Redding, late afternoon, early evening is when we can start to see some of those showers. And then most of the thunderstorms again in the mountains, especially for Siskiyou and Modoc County. Then that shifts eastward. You can see even midnight, Saturday night into Sunday, maybe a stray shower, maybe even an off chance for a thunderstorm late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Bernie maybe getting caught up in some activity as well. Then that pushes off to the east. Not a lot of activity Sunday morning. Sunday midday, we start to see some afternoon convection. Now, I think it's in pretty good alignment with the Storm Prediction Center indicating that most of it will be to the north and east, and that certainly looks to be the case on Futurecast. Northern Lassen, Modoc County, eastern parts of Siskiyou County as well. But we can't rule out a stray shower, maybe a thunderstorm for western Siskiyou and even northern Trinity County as well. But the valley, I think, will be dry through the day on Sunday. And then by Monday, it's entirely out of here, by the way. Temperature-wise, we are looking at those temperatures. It's actually decreasing over the weekend. And why? Because you see that colder air over the Gulf of Alaska, more mild air pushing southward. And that's going to keep the heat farther away from us. But as that starts to kind of moderate a little bit here and it's weakening a little bit, high pressure over the desert southwest looks to expand and get stronger through next week. And I think it's going to expand far enough west into Northern California that we're going to see some bigger heat arriving toward the end of next week, 105 degrees or so. And that's what I'm expecting with that as we get towards the end of next week. So a little bit of I'll call it a mini heat wave, if you will, taking you into the middle and latter part of next week. So you can see here for Redding, 103, 104, maybe 105 for Thursday, Friday, Saturday of next week, not this upcoming weekend, because you can see this weekend looking absolutely gorgeous temperature-wise. All right, let's go and take a look at our forecast for today. Temperatures upper 90s to 100 degrees for the valley, 80s and 90s for the higher elevations, and I am expecting those temperatures in the low to mid 60s for the coast. Tonight, mid to upper 60s for the valley, 40s and 50s for the higher elevations, and mid to upper 50s for the coast. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast for the valley, there's that chance. Now, I think what's going to happen is Red Bluff northward, best chance for some isolated showers, maybe some thunderstorms as well. Saturday, late Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, even into Saturday night. Then by Sunday, it dries out entirely, and we're starting to warm things up as we go through next week. Now, for the coast, showers are a very good possibility, as well as the inland areas. Nothing heavy. Dries out on Sunday for both the coast and inland. Best chances for thunderstorms in Weaverville and Trinity County in general will be Saturday, but there still is a chance on Sunday before we start to warm things up through next week. Showers and thunderstorms are a very good possibility for Siskiyou County, and I think mainly on Saturday, but the chances are certainly there on Sunday. For Modoc County, I think very good chances both Saturday and Sunday. Now, as far as the eastern mountains are concerned, very good chance, especially Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Saturday night, Sunday morning as well. But by Sunday afternoon, I think most of it will be in northern Lassen County, drying out entirely by Monday, and taking you through next week should be warming up as well. All right, that's your afternoon update. I'll be back again with the latest forecast model data coming in at 6 o'clock this evening. Until then, have a great afternoon.
Construction season is well underway in the Northstate, and we'd like to remind drivers to slow down around work zones. Keep Caltrans workers safe when they're on the job, and remember to be work zone alert when you see the color orange. Remember to pay attention to signs, merge early, avoid distractions, and don't speed. This message is brought to you by Caltrans District 2.